just like daily work will be like a 13 or a 15. Today's been a 9.
Oh, that's like way higher than mine.
It just doesn't seem like that's a normal thing. Because if every day has been shitty, but today for some reason I'm like 4 points off, I don't know.
Did you feel less rageful today?
No, I pulled over and had a good scream. I couldn't find a package for a house, and I remembered like putting the markings on it in the morning, and I dug through the back for like 10, 15 minutes and just could not find it. And then went back up front, and it was a smaller package that was sitting under something else that I didn't see. Rolled up all the windows, closed all the doors, and just let out like
just the truck moved from the outside, like in a cliche movie way. It's just like
yeah, yeah. Just a fat man inside of a little vehicle. The shit was just shaking as I was trying to find stuff.
Speaking of fat man in a tiny vehicle, Santa and his sleigh.
Oh shit! Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. So, Christmas one-on-one time. Just going to go ahead and go through a few of our little, either our favorites, our worsts, little opinion.
There's a lot of fun stuff in here. There's a lot of good things. It brought up a lot of good memories of being a kid and just kind of remembering.
This actually brought to light that I don't remember as much about like Christmas during my childhood as I thought I did. I remember like a lot of big things, but when I tried to I wanted to give myself a lot of stuff to choose from.
Yeah.
I remembered the big ones that I ended up choosing and a few others, but I was just kind of like, I would have thought I would have remembered this shit more, but
I channeled back to a funny old memory of, and this was just one specific year. I don't remember the year, but in the morning we would always be pumped and run downstairs to see what Santa brought us on Christmas morning. And I used to sleep in my skivvies, and I remember running down at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was right around the time that we had gotten like a video camera, like a camcorder, to start recording these family events.
are we talking like shoulder mounted
camcorder?
Yeah,
like the big ones that had the videotape in it, all that.
Okay, full size VHS.
Yes.
Yes, that's the only, yes.
So I remember running downstairs and being all excited about presents and just being super pumped and screaming.
Is this going to be part of your...
No, this is just an ancillary memory that it was something that I haven't probably thought about in 15, 20 years at least. But I remember turning around and seeing my dad with it on his shoulder, and I was so excited about it, and I just remember him saying, "Hey, decided not to get dressed this morning, huh?" I remember looking down.
the red light?
Yeah.
Like, what's the red light mean?
He was sitting there filming, and I was in my underwear, and I just remember being so mortified. I was like, oh, God, this is going to be a part of home movies for forever. I dropped everything and ran back upstairs and put some clothes on and came back down. I couldn't have been more than like 5 or 6, but that just fear of being caught on camera in my underwear
I'm
as a
going to
kid.
end up on America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah, thank God it didn't. That would have been a Saget time, so maybe I would have got to meet Bob. That would have been sweet.
Okay, this isn't on the list, but I used to... This is either going to sound crazy or you're going to really, like, relate to this. Did you ever try to figure out a way, once you went to bed, to figure out what was going on? Like, not sneaking out of your room, but did you ever try to devise a way to figure out what was going on around the tree to, like, either discover Santa, or if you knew your parents were really Santa, to find out what they were doing and, like, give you an idea of what you got?
I did get caught. We were in 5th grade. Parents came home early, and I had an X-Acto knife, and I was cutting open presents to try to see what I got early.
No, I mean like...
Santa-wise.
Yeah, I mean like Christmas Eve. Like going to sleep Christmas Eve.
That was my deal. I would try to stay up as late as possible because I wanted to hear something going on in the house to know when Santa was there, so then you could run down in the morning. And every single time it would be like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, you just fall asleep because you were a kid and you couldn't stay up that late. Like, my mission every single year was to stay up long enough to hear Santa show up. But every single time I would fall asleep, and it was just always like right there. Like, I'd run down in the morning and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I tried to stay awake for Santa. And my dad would be like, when'd you fall asleep? And I'd be like, oh, like 1 or something like that. He's like, just missed him. My mom's like, yeah, he probably came around like 2, something like that. And he's like, God damn it, next year.
there was a certain point in time where we were forced to go to bed at a certain time to allow them, like, Santa's not going to show up. Go to bed. You know,
Yeah.
Santa's not going to show up. So I'm just realizing this now that this may not be as normal as I thought it was. So this applies to Halloween too. I used to do this weird thing where I would like, it was a fun thing to do with like friends where we would trick or treat a little bit, but we also drew up like this weird like Halloween attack plan where we would like try to scare people and do everything. This probably sounds insane, but we would have like a little drawn up map or like diagram of the neighborhood where we would meet up if we like got caught by somebody. It's just weird kid shit.
Yeah, causing some mischief.
Yes. So with Christmas, I can't remember what I'm looking up right now to see if either I got inspired by this or if I actually did it before it. I had walkie-talkies. And what I did was
You bugged that.
I turned on my walkie-talkie and taped the talk button down, and I hid it in the tree. And then I had the other one under my pillow in my bed, so when I got into my room, I turned it on, and I was trying to listen in on what was going on. And I remember, so I think this was the only year I did it, and I had this feeling like my parents were being really secretive about something. There was something to prompt me to do this. I don't know if it was the acquisition of the walkie-talkies and just that was the first year it was available, or if I knew something was up. So my window faced the front of the house in the street.
Yeah.
So I remember I'm sitting there listening to this thing, and all of a sudden, like, I hear my door open, and I fake like I'm asleep, and all of a sudden, like my dad starts picking me up. And it's not like I can fucking keep the walkie-talkie in my hand. So I have to let it go under the pillow. And he picks me up and takes me into their room to sleep because their room didn't face anything.
Yeah.
And it actually leads into our first segment, favorite gift. Okay. And so this was the night. So I'll just go since I'm leading the story into it. So, of course, I'm awake the whole time. So once I get into their bed, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so, like, I'm going to their door and, like, I'm trying to, like, put my ear to the door and I can hear some, like, shuffling and everything like that, but I can't hear a lot. Fuck it. I'm not escaping from this. So I just go to sleep. I don't know how I fell asleep, but it was just like, I had the plan set up and then my plan was foiled and I knew something was afoot. So I wake up in the morning and I can't remember if it was the last thing that I saw or if it was the first thing. I think it was the last thing. So we, the blinds in the living room are closed and everything, as they normally probably are. We're around the tree, and we're opening stuff and passing out stuff to different people. And I don't remember a single fucking other thing about that year. Presents, anything like that. And that probably is kind of shitty to say. Like, that sounds like a spoiled kid to say that. Because there are kids that can't say that, but like to say that kind of does make me feel like.
Also, you have to remember that we've packed decades upon decades of memories on top of these.
I understand. Okay, getting away from it. So it comes to, you know how there's always like the one big present and then some little things. There wasn't like a big present, but my sister had unwrapped a big present, and so spoiled kid logic. You're like, but I didn't say it in that way. I don't think I was like, and so before, like, I probably even had a chance to think about that. My dad's like, hey, how about you put your jacket on? And so I wouldn't put my jacket on, and he opens the front door and looks out, and there was a fucking four-wheeler sitting in front of the living room windows where I couldn't have noticed it from another window or anything like that. And this isn't a new four-wheeler. This thing was, I think it was an 85, same year I was born, like little Suzuki 185 that had actually belonged to his best friend, and they used it for their kids, but it had been bored out to like a 220. So it had a little bit more. It was a single cylinder, but it had some
kid sized, but not
the back powered. It was almost like the back wheels were like fat, and it was a rear wheel drive. And I'm not even shitting you. I don't think I came back in the house for like 3 days. I think maybe to sleep. And the reason that is my favorite gift is not for getting it. It's for every single memory I had after. We lived in a cul-de-sac, and behind Cameron's house at the top of the circle part, behind that was a completely open field. probably 30 acres, but it was also not flat. It actually had like a hill in the middle, a little, not even a service road because no one ever drove out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so but it had like a path that went around, and then it had a hill on the side where Cameron lived. And that used to be our sledding hill too. So when we got this
convenient.
When we got this thing, it was fucking nothing for the rest of the season and every winter for about the next 4 years after that, except one person fucking hauling ass around with another person on the tube on the back trying to whip them around and throw them off. And the only time we stopped is when we ran out of gas and had to either push it back, go get more gas. Someone had to go eat. No one ever got majorly hurt, but like looking at it now, like there was some like there were rocks and shit out there.
Yeah.
Like there was like kid shit that you look back on and you're like, that was so fucking fun. But we had no business not getting hurt doing that.
There's a lot of those memories of being a kid where when you got a gift like that, like danger was just always ever present when you got something with a motor on it. But it never stopped you from trying to push those limits. Like pulling each other around and hooky bobbing like that, that shit was the best.
There was no supervision.
Yeah.
That was just like, and I think, okay, I'm going to say that Toy Story actually did it first because it was 95. And I want to say I was probably about 11.
With the walkie-talkie move?
Yeah. And it probably inspired me. I probably saw the move and it still worked.
Yeah.
But I don't even think it ended up being that. This is going to sound like, but like, I don't even think it was like the four-wheeler itself ended up being like my favorite gift. I think it's what it gave me like for literally 4 years.
Just the joy.
The thing though too is that was like the one thing that I wanted everybody to enjoy, because I also didn't want to be like in a selfish way though. Like I didn't want to be the asshole driving the whole time. I wanted to get back on that fucking tube, get whip my ass around.
But you're also the badass with the four-wheeler.
Yes, but the thing is I would like. Everyone got to drive and everyone got to ride and it was fun as fuck. And I even remember it got to the point where like they were coming over when I couldn't be outside and they're like, can we use the four-wheeler? I'm like, fuck no. That was like my line.
Yeah.
Like, fuck no.
Yeah.
I think I let it happen one time and then after that I was like, I don't like this feeling. No. If I'm not getting to have fucking fun out there doing something, no one else is getting to have fun.
Not a chance.
But yeah, that's the one I always go back to.
My first one, it's not so much like it was a fantastic gift, and I think I was 16, 17 maybe, but it was something where just the gift in itself was a PlayStation 3. And I don't know if everybody really remembers the time when PlayStation 3s came out, and it was right around, I think PlayStation 3 was the first version the Xbox came out with.
I can't say for sure. I'm trying to picture the PlayStation 3 in my head. So the one was the disc opening on top.
Yep.
The 2 was the black
slide
tower
out tray
with the slide out tray, and 3 was
the first where you pushed it in.
Okay.
You pushed the disc in.
Okay.
And they were big and bulky, but they were so fucking hard to get because somehow Sony always thinks that they're just going to release things without having adequate stock. And I'll be a Sony guy for life, but this just bugs the shit out of me every time.
Was this the launch year?
Yeah.
This was the hot item at Chris. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They were impossible to get. You could never get them. I had just completely washed it out of my mind. I worked with a dude who was like 23, 24 at the time, and he had gotten his hands on one, but it was because that was literally all he did was he worked at the shoe store and then would spend all his money on rent and video games. And I remember
time.
Yeah, it's so simple. It was so great. But we would go over to his house or his apartment, and he lived with another dude that we worked with, and they would always drink Busch Light. And of course, being a 16-year-old, I didn't really have much of a choice as to how that was going. And we would play it, and I loved it so much. And I remember asking for one and didn't know how my parents were going to pull it off. Just never expected it because they were so impossible to get. Christmas Day comes, go down, open up presents. PS3 sitting right there. I was so excited. Being a kid who knew Santa wasn't real and all that stuff, it just immediately went to my mind. And I just remember asking how it happened. My parents were just like, hey, We know you really wanted it. You've been a great
So
kid
you were
this year.
actually trying to find this yourself to buy it yourself.
Well, I didn't have that money because they were, I think, $400 at that time.
Okay.
Maybe it was kind of their first price hike because I think PS2 was $299.
But were you trying to find it to be like, okay, I can direct my parents, or to try to like, hey, in case you guys are interested? Okay,
I tried to help them, but it was just like everywhere
Yeah.
was sold out. There was no way it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
and if you weren't going to find it, you figured there was no hope.
Yeah, there was just no choice. So I found out maybe 2 or 3 months later that my mom and dad had found a lady who had somehow gotten 2 for her son and were trying to get it for me. And the lady was asking just like an insane amount of money for it. And they were talking enough that my mom found out that this lady was a big Beanie Baby lady. And my mom's a huge Beanie Baby lady. I have distinct memories of going to like Hallmark where she knew the people and they would like give her a call when the new Beanie Baby shipments came in and all that shit.
She had the inside track on the BBs.
So I find out a
Does
couple
she
months.
still have them?
Yeah. And she's like totes, cartons. Once the market fell out, there was really no reason to sell them, so we just kept them.
So is there not a market for them anymore?
Not the same. There are certain ones that she has that are still very valuable, but the bulk of them...
crypto before crypto.
Yeah, exactly. But I find out that she traded this lady 2 Princess Di Beanie Babies that were like the rare ones that had some sort of a defect.
Are we talking like Holy Grail type Beanie Babies here?
These Beanie Babies were like $400 to $600 at the time. But my mom, being the lady that she was and having multiple of these, she was able to trade 2 of these to a lady out of her personal collection and still have 1 or 2 left over.
Freaking black market Beanie Baby negotiating here.
Yeah, dude, just to know that like they got that
The love
creative.
of her sons forced her to turn to the black market of Beanie Baby swaps for this PS3.
That's what it was,
An
man.
angel.
They wanted it so bad just to make my Christmas happen.
The fact that it was a Princess Di Beanie Baby is just blowing my mind right now. Like, I thought Beanie Babies were just like animals and like cute little shit. Like, the fact that there was a Princess Di Beanie Baby.
They have special versions of everything. Like, they do Olympics and all that kind of stuff.
Much about the Beanie Baby market as I thought I did.
It's insane. They had, you remember when they would come in like Happy Meals?
Yeah, but were those even real Beanie Babies?
They were.
Oh.
Because you can still find like packs of unopened ones that people have kept over the years and got the complete set and all that kind of stuff. Like the Beanie Baby market's a wild thing.
I understand why you know a lot about this, but it still kind of is weirded me out that you know so much about this.
You grow up enough around it just happens. But to know that they loved me enough and I was enough of a decent kid that year to where they went that kind of extra route, it was just like, this is special. Like, this is very cool. And I used the shit out of that PS3.
I was going to say, that was the gift that I know there's this, as someone who is going to be having a kid that is going to be getting to the age where video games are going to be, he sees me play, and if I hand him another controller, he'll entertain himself for a couple of minutes, and then he figures it out, and he's like, I'm not doing anything here. Sets it down and walks out of the room. But he's going to be getting to the point where he's going to start playing soon, and it's got to be one of those things where, like, you know how much enjoyment you got out of that as a kid. And you don't want to, like... And
Days.
think of, like, even the games we played as a kid, like, young kids. Shit's so much better now. Like, it's not even, like, conceivable. Like, the advancement in video... That might be the biggest advancement in anything.
Probably.
But... like how like you see how like you can get dialed into a game. And you're like, am I going to get my kid a video? And here's the thing too: most parents game these days, or like a lot of them do. If anything, you're buying it for both of you. It's for him,
or you're getting him a second one of what you already have, so you don't have to share.
Oh, I don't know if I care about that.
Really?
It's that I wouldn't play if he was up to play and everything like that. I think it'd be awesome to play with him.
Yeah, but say he's like 10 years old, 11 years old, and you guys are hanging out that day. He finds something that he's just thoroughly enthralled with, and you're like, he's distracted for the next 1 to 2 hours. I don't have really anything else to do.
I'd go jump on.
I'd like to jump on.
I try
Warzone.
to do that now. If he's watching something, and I've seen it 50 times, and he's watching it for the 51st time, I'm just like, look over. He's good. I'm like, hey, come and get me if you need me. If you need any snacks, here's your stuff.
That's what I'm saying, though. You're going to want a second station so you can make your stuff happen.
It may come to that, but I have this weird. This probably isn't as rare as something it is. I have this weird moment I'm looking forward to where we're going to be playing like whatever iteration of Madden is going to be at that point, and he's going to finally beat me. I don't know when it's going to be. I feel like it's going to have to be like he's going to have to be like late teens and have a solid understanding of play calling.
Uh-huh.
But there's going to come a time where he beats me, and I'm going to have to lay down those sticks. I'm going to have to look at him and say, "You're a man now."
I remember the exact day almost that I beat my...
Now fucking run it back. It was a fucking fluke.
I remember the day and the night that I beat my dad at 1-on-1 for the first time out in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that's seared into my mind. I'm sure all through his life it was probably
First
seared
day
in his
you beat your
mind
dad
too.
in a foot race.
Yeah. Those are big formative
I'm still trying
days.
to debate in my head when I stop letting him win and when I finally just blow his doors off. And because I feel like he's very confident in his speed right now. It's getting... There's getting to be a little bit too much confidence.
Yeah.
Like, there's some shit talking going around the house, like, look how fast I am.
You're going to have to shut things down eventually.
Eventually, yeah. If he gets too loud and he keeps chirping about it all the time, I'm going to have to be like, listen, do you want me to race you for real? Because I've been holding back all these years.
Humility is a very important lesson.
And we're going to see what
children.
that does to his mind.
He's going to say you cheated immediately.
He has no scruples when it comes to trying. Like, we'll race, and he wants to call ready set. He's 2 steps before he says go.
Smart kid.
And then hands out as wide as he can to block me from getting past him because I can't knock him over. No, not yet. It's hardwood floors, man.
Okay.
We're going around the stairs and it's hardwood. Now I have, going up the stairs, grabbed the back of his shirt and started pulling him back down just to let him know, hey, this one hand, I'll jerk your ass down this whole flight of stairs. Keep leaving on. If you keep getting that 2-step lead on me, I'm being gracious here. I got years to go before I can smoke him and not have him have an existential crisis about the fact he doesn't have super speed.
I say humility is an important lesson to learn young.
What was your runner-up?
My runner-up was much like you were talking about hokey bobbing behind the four-wheeler. Our neighborhood, every single year, that used to be the move. We used to pump up the inflatable tires that we would use to float the river during the summertime, and we'd hook it up behind my dad's truck. I remember even like trying to bargain with him. I was like, "Hey, let's not use the tube. I'll get in the sled. We're going down to church. Let me just ride down there to church." He's like, "No, dude, you're in your Sunday best. You're not going to ride in the sled.
I'll keep the nose up.
Yeah.
I'll get my hands up there."
Just every time be like, "No, we have to go sit in church." He's like, "If you wipe out before we go, then we're not going to go to church that day." And
don't whip me around the corners. This is going to be up to you more than anything.
And in my head, I'm like, is that really the worst thing that's going to happen here? Is I don't have to sit through church if I fall? Like, maybe I'm going to take a dive.
You figure out you're about ready to pull in the parking lot, and he's not whipping you around. You're like, ah.
We had so many fun days, though, of just cruising around. And eventually we did it behind the dangerous 3-wheeler.
So what was the gift? Is it this runner-up for gift?
Hokey bobbing, yeah. Oh, are we doing gifts?
Okay, if you want to move on to... Are you moving on to memorable Christmas memory?
Yeah.
That's fine.
So my gift, just to throw in just the easy one before we move on to memory. There was something that the WWF did called the Titantron toy, which was the entrance where they would come in.
I'm familiar with the Titantron.
And they used to make action figures that had 2 metallic pieces in the bottom of their feet. And you would set them on the Titantron.
Would it play their theme music?
It would play the theme music,
Oh, my God.
Greatest gift ever.
Who were the guys?
They did them with everybody. So you would be able to go...
So it was pre-programmed with everybody's stuff already.
No.
But you had to have the individual pieces to
The
get it to
individual
work.
action figures were the ones that had the metallic in them, that had the magnet. And when you would set the individual wrestler on, that's when the theme music would play.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Each of them, that was pre-programmed into the base.
Every single one of them.
And then whatever unlocked that specific song was built into the toy.
Uh-huh.
How many did you have? Did you, list me off a couple?
Taker was always a big one. Stone Cold was number 1 because you'd hear the glass shatter.
As soon as you touched it, glass shatter?
Yep. Vince McMahon was always No Chance in Hell, which was always great.
No chance. No chance.
Shane's was Who's Got the Money. They were just incredible. They were the best toys. Degeneration X was just popping off right around this time, so you had all that theme music. It was so much fun, and that was part of the fun. Was like I was able to.
Because you had your ring already, right?
Oh yeah. I was able to add a whole nother element. They were fighting on the Titantron up there.
I almost wish
time
that there would have been streaming, because I feel like you would have been this weirdly popular doing like matches. And I feel like it would have picked up for you.
I could have done it.
You could have. Would you say that that's on your list of like top 5 things you wish you still had from childhood?
Was the creativity to be able to do that?
The Titantron.
Oh.
Fuck the creativity, the fucking Titantron.
Yeah, there's still, I see when my nephews.
I can imagine the fucking Titantron up on that.
Yeah, it would be.
We could introduce different segments by putting another little man on something.
There's still 2 or 3 that are floating around at my mom's house that when my nephews go over and play and they pull out the toys and they pull them out and I see it on the bottom of the foot, I'm like, that was the Titantron toy. That was one of the guys.
You need to get those over here.
Yeah, I do. Maybe that's how I rekindle my childhood and my creativity, is I start taking things out of boxes instead of leaving them in boxes.
There you go. Mine was it was the first time I got like a big kid 1-speed bike, and the bike was awesome and I loved it. What was crazy about it was they didn't hide it by the tree. They hid a tiny box at the very back of the tree that said, "Look in the bathtub." Yeah. And that morning I had gone in to take a pee and was standing right next to it with the curtain closed.
No idea
it was there. And then it said, "Look in the bathtub," and I went and looked. So for a second I couldn't remember if I'd looked in there or noticed in there, and it was goddamn magic. But just the fucking surprise was cool. Okay, so the hooky bobbing.
Bikes were always a tricky thing with Christmas because anything that you had to do outside in cold weather, that was always tough because you almost had to wait. There was not an option. You go out and play with it, but there was always like 3 months before you get maximum enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, okay, yes. But you played the fuck out of it that day.
Oh, yeah. That day you were definitely good. You were trying to ride it in the house because it was too cold outside. Definitely. So,
So you were saying hooky bobbing was your memory?
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of my my runner-up. My first number 1 memory, though, I remember a time I might have been like 8 or 9, like when you're still in almost like you're almost to the end of Santa, but you're still there. And sometimes you have these fleeting moments as a child where you hear something or think that you see something that just...
It's golf.
Huh?
It's the golf phenomenon. You know, when you're playing golf, you can play bad. You have one great shot and it makes you a believer again. Your faith in Santa starts to start waning. You hear talk at school, Santa's not real. Santa's not real. There's more Santa's not reals than Santa's is real. Not Israel. Is real. And then something happens and it gets you back on the Santa train. Get you back on that sleigh.
Yep. My moment was going to my grandparents' house. They had 2 levels, but it was a basement house and then top level. And my brother and I would always sleep in the basement because it was always a cool place with the air hockey table. It was always nice and cold. And I remember one night, Christmas Eve, him and I are down there asleep. All of a sudden I hear this commotion upstairs in this ruckus. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's Santa. Santa's upstairs. And I remember reaching over and I remember shaking my brother. I was like, dude, Santa's upstairs. And he's 8 years older than me. So he hears this. He's like, why'd you wake me up? What's going on? And then he hears it and he's like, it's like, dude, that's Santa.
Do I fucking kill this kid right now?
Like, thinking back on our conversation now, I know.
Do I stamp out the final ember of Santa within this kid?
Yep. And I remember him being like, yeah, dude, you can't go upstairs. I was like, whatever you do, I'm going to go back to sleep. He's like, just don't go upstairs. And I just remember being convinced from then on. Protect
your purity, that one bit of innocence left.
Yeah,
Did you go up?
No, I didn't. Him and I have broken a lot of barriers in life together, but he definitely kept this one good.
So how long was it the next year that you stopped? I mean, if that bought you that's pretty good if that bought you an entire another year.
Yeah.
Even if it was at the
I would say that it probably was, but I just remember that next morning it was just solidified in my head. And I remember telling my parents, and I'm sure my parents were like, oh shit, we made too much noise last night. But just the fact that he had found me in a town that was 100 miles away, it was just like, for one more year, if that's all it is, Santa's real. He's the guy. And then that day when it finally comes out that he's not real, I go back to that memory, like, but that happened. And then I put it all together. I was like, oh, you're an idiot.
Is he only real as long as I believe?
Well, and I heard it upstairs, not thinking we're in a basement, so anything that's going on upstairs, that's not the roof.
Yeah, but you're so used to that being the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. My runner-up is, I can't remember how old I was. It had to have been, I'm going to say 7 to 8. 7, 9. And that year for Christmas, I got an RC car. And this was back before these like fancy rotating tires, doesn't flip over RC cars. This was back when an RC car would go so fast it would split your shin if it hit you at top speed.
And a battery lasted like 45 minutes.
Yes. And it was an Indy, a Formula One car, RC car. This thing was so fucking fast. And this thing lasted so long. Like, I used to take like the dog out in the neighborhood and just run the whole thing down the street, but it was fucking fast as shit. So I get that. And then I loved Legos. I got a Lego fire station. And it was like twin, big, tall opening doors that came up. In the middle was like the fire tower command center, everything. Christmas morning, of course, I unwrap it. That's the fucking thing I go toward. I'm like, oh, if you get your kid something that needs to be put together or built, you better have the damn expectation it's going to get built right there.
Or that you've already built it for them.
Correct. But by getting your child that, there is the expectation that you're going to assemble it. So, of course, I'm begging my dad, can we put this together and everything like that? My dad was a firefighter. I'd been around that. I was fucking stoked. So, get the thing built and everything like that. It's awesome. It's got a fire truck. It's parked in. And so it's sitting out all nice out in the middle of the living room on display. I'm playing around with the RC car. And our living room growing up used to be a garage, but it got converted into a living room. So there were 2 steps going down into it.
Is this going to turn out bad?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. And through testing the speed of the car and everything like that, I jumped it off the steps and just fucking obliterated this fire station with it. And I can't remember if my dad was in the room. I feel like there would have been an expletive that would have been very memorable had he been in the room. I want to say he was in the kitchen making breakfast, and it happened. And like, I looked at it, and it was like, it didn't like fully knock it out, but like 2/3 of it had caved everything into like one of the bays of the garage.
Critical hit.
A 7 to 9 year old does not have the capability of reassembling this without adult supervision. It wasn't a short period of time it took us to assemble this either. It was a solid like 45 minutes in the morning.
Oh yeah.
Breakfast is still needing to be made. And so
a lot of Legos.
And I'm just trying to figure out, all I remember is the fear of trying to figure out like how to tell my dad that this happened. And I'm not even kidding. I don't know if that fire station ever got reassembled again. With all of its complete pieces. I think I may have tried to reassemble it years later and everything, but I now know what that feeling would be like if that happened. I think I would do the same thing. I'd just look at my dad and be like, you got to put it back together yourself, man. I give you one.
Your dad's looking at you like this is going in your Santa Claus letter.
Yes. Okay. The top one, and I think this is extremely unique, is my dad used to, this is going to be a long 1v1. So if you're listening to this, buckle in. We got more shit to talk about. Okay. My dad used to plow, have a snow plow on the front of his truck that he could put on and off. So he would go and plow driveways for money in the wintertime. He would plow our cul-de-sac and everything for free, of course, because he lived there.
And he made ramps?
No. What he did was, okay, you know what a cul-de-sac is shaped like?
Yeah. I live in one.
Okay, sorry. Imagine coming down your cul-de-sac, and instead of doing all the snow out toward the sidewalks,
you do it in the middle.
He put it all in the middle. So almost going down the full length of the cul-de-sac. It would almost divide it into like driving lanes. You drove just one direction. You drove in this way and out this way. Yeah. In the middle of it, the long section was like a mound of snow that was not even shitting you. They had snowed a lot that year. I'm guessing maybe about 2 feet to 3 feet high and probably about 3 feet wide. The middle of the cul-de-sac, there was a mound of snow that was probably 12 feet high and probably about, 20 feet. Like if you went from the center and went 20 feet out and drew a circle.
Yeah.
I don't know what the calculation is, circumference would be, but 20 feet out and then draw a circle. Uh-huh. And we used that and basically turned that into a snow fort for the entire year.
That's awesome.
We dug tunnels through the thing. We had like a little watchtower built at the very end, stairs leading up to it. We would have like snow, and then like when we would have like snowball fights and everything, you would of course do like King of the Hill, throwing each other down it and everything like that. you would build snow forts in your yard and then have that be like the fortress and try to attack it. And it was just like the perfect, like, my dad just happened to plow snow. We happened to live in a cul-de-sac. It came together. Everyone fucking, like, the kids fucking loved it.
Oh yeah.
And I think he only did that like 1 year or something. And then they just piled the snow up somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But for that, yeah.
Probably because you guys built a fort right in the middle of it. And
it's probably because they couldn't get the fucking kids out of the street. That's what fucking gummed up traffic more than the fucking snow. Is just the sleds that were fucking left out that had rolled off the goddamn hill.
The constant flying of children across the cul-de-sac.
The fucking broken arm from playing King of the fucking... Oh. All right, what do we got next?
Worst holiday song.
All right, okay, so...
This led to a little fire pre-recording.
Okay, so I feel that Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas is automatically...
It has to be off the list because it's just the worst.
Correct. We're fighting for second and third here when we do our first picks and runner up. So that doesn't get picked because it just goes without saying.
Every year, I think I did 7 years with Foot Locker and Champs, and for 5 of those years, I had to live with that video. It was on every single holiday video. It played no less than 10 times a day.
You have, of course, more of a reaction, but do you think that there's anything that you hear that gives you more of like a Pavlov's type, auditory response than that ding, 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 ding? Like the first fucking... Because those keys are unmistakable. Do you know what that is? When someone plays that, it's like a fucking snowball that's been sent out overnight straight to your fucking face that says, like, Christmas, bitch!
If I was David Koresh, that would be the song that they would play outside my compound to get me to go nuts.
Use that song at Guantanamo.
They would have to,
where they don't torture people.
The people down there may find it catchy. I think they might be big fans of Mariah Carey.
They don't show the video.
Yeah, I guess maybe you don't know what it looks like. Yeah, it's rough.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, what was your... Do you want to go runner-up first and then your...
Yeah, we can go runner-up first.
Give your honorable mention.
All right, honorable mention, Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Fucking dumb. Just not I guess a clever song, but just the way it gets sung out in like whole story form, just wildly dumb.
I feel like it's a song that didn't deserve to have the legs that it did. It's not on my list, but it was considered. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those songs like, how does this keep getting
replayed? It's just recycled every single year. And maybe it's the kind of people we are or the region that we're from. I could see it maybe being a bigger shot, like a bigger hit in the South, or like somebody.
Oh God, yeah,
yeah. It just
a lot of karaoke singing,
hillbilly bumpkin types. Mm-hmm. No offense if that's maybe it's not.
If that's your jam, if that's your go-to holiday karaoke song, you keep fucking singing it.
If you don't like it, you can picture the kind of person that would
own that shit.
Larry the Cable Guy loves that song. That's a Larry the Cable Guy hit, probably. That shit probably plays in his weird house all the time. It's not good. And it's cute. I'm sure it's fun for children, but it's just an annoyance to me, at least.
All right. What got a number? Do you want me to go with mine?
Yeah.
I hate to do this to you, but it's Baby It's Cold Outside. Not even... Okay, and I'm not even saying it because of the... I just think it's a boring fucking song. I'm not even going to discuss the merits of its content, questionable as they may be.
No.
Okay, that's not what I'm basing this on. I just think it's not. It's a slow, like kind of glum song, even the way it's sung. I really can't stay, baby, it's cold outside. I really need to leave. Pull off your panties.
No, that's not a part of the song. You made that up.
It might be. I don't know. We can't play it to confirm it due to copyright reasons.
That's bullshit.
I'm
willing to
risk
debate. This whole entire thing just for that. This episode will get taken down just to confirm that's not in there.
But the merits in which it is, it's a boring fucking song, and I feel like it's too fucking slow, and it makes me sad. It makes me feel like fucking Eeyore because the tone is like... That's come on. Give me what fucking are there instruments in that song?
Does there need to be?
Something.
Can I make an argument for it?
Sure.
When you get two singers, I'm not sure who did it originally. It might have been like Bing Crosby or somebody like that. But when you get two just incredible voices having like a singing conversation,
Gambio winners at them.
Huh?
I understand these people are talented with voices of angels, but cannot. Hey, no one bats 1,000.
If you get Michael Bublé on that song and he's just hitting those silky vocals, it's gonna sound incredible.
Okay, this is a preferential thing. What I'm saying is they're not all gonna be winners. Hey, The Rock his movie barely. He's human. His Black Adam barely turned a profit. Hey, we all got our preferences.
I don't know. I don't like that it got canceled.
What's your worst?
Yeah, this is a really bad way to do this because I just stood up for something that may have questionable morals. My worst is Holy Night.
That's another boring ass song. I get there's a message in these songs, but it's...
Get off your fucking high horse. They treat Holy Night like people treat the national anthem.
Yeah.
Like, you hold out different notes.
It's so goddamn slow, man.
Far too long. Yeah, it is very slow, but it's something where, like, you try to show off your vocal range and shit like that, and it's just like, don't do that.
I feel like you can never make that song shorter. You can only make it longer. I feel like there's long versions, and they're like, well, we can't shorten this anymore because we got to hit those. All is calm. Take the big breath. All is night.
That's what I'm saying. You're trying to make yourself a better singer, and that one, generally, if you're a shit singer, that one you can probably sound okay doing. But
and just breathing.
I don't like it.
I agree with you. It's a dog shit song, and the only reason it's got too much hype now it's too big to fail.
It's too reverent. It's too
ingrained into the holiday itself because it talks about that holy ass night. I'm gonna split my pants.
Not great. What's your number one?
12 Days of Christmas. Again, I don't need this long of a fucking story.
I forgot that existed.
And not only the fact that, like...
The one with, like, the maids milking, the geese laying.
Yeah,
that one?
Yeah, 5 golden rings.
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, God damn it, you're already presumptuous enough to make a song in which I gotta remember 12 different things. Not only do I gotta remember the 12 different things, then I gotta remember to go in descending order after I'm singing about them. Every fucking time.
If the song was a part of a grade school... What were those called? Concert?
Pageants?
Maybe pageant. Pageant might be the right word for it. It was like a grade school...
It's on assembly, because that's what the students go to.
No, but like you invited your parents.
No, I get exactly
what
it's. I just can't think of the word for it.
If it's a part of that, it sucks. It's an oversang song that we were forced to learn in a time when the last thing you wanted to do is have to learn a song. You would rather be out at recess playing kickball or something like that.
How many can even... Okay. I'm not even going to try to... It's crap. I don't want to even try to rack my brain and remember it. It's a crap song.
They were all bad in that era.
Do you have a Christmas song that you like?
Yeah, we just went over it and I had to try to defend it.
Oh, I meant like a Christmas song that you like not like I listen to it if it comes on, but like if you wanted to listen to a Christmas song, you're like, I'm going to that one.
No.
Oh, I like Christmas in Hollis. I think it's because of my affinity for Die Hard. It's the Run DMC.
I was going to say, is that DMC?
Yeah. All right. Switching up lanes, we're going to go best holiday movie.
Yeah, I told you about this before. I guess I'm just so out of like Christmas and not really into the spirit. I forgot what my 1-1 was. It's changed in recent years, and I don't remember the one that took over the number 1 spot. So I got to go just with number 2. This man has multiple Christmas movies that should make this list, and they might. Vince Vaughn in Four Christmases is maybe the best representation of just like a very funny Christmas folly situation with having to go to 4 families in one day and see just these polar opposite crazy people.
I wanted to talk about this with you because it's my honorable mention too.
Okay.
So we can just go back and forth on this. Yeah. And I'll even just like, I'll say my first one and then we'll come back to this one because I think there's more to discuss. Growing up, Die Hard was a Christmas movie. To me, it's not like I'm watching it with my kid right now as a Christmas movie, but I do myself watch Die Hard every year for Christmas. I love the fact that is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? Fuck it. I don't care if you think it's not a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie to me because I watched it around Christmas with my family. I grew up doing it.
I don't think that it is, but at the same time, it's ambiguous enough to where I understand it. Like, I think you can watch Die Hard during any part of the year and it's always going to be the same hit. Mm-hmm. But during Christmas, there is a little bit more of a push to where it like feels like it fits in more than other times. So I'll concede that it has a Christmas theme to it. It's kind of like
it takes place at Christmas.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's kind of like Harry Potter movies. Like, is Harry Potter a Christmas movie because it has Christmas themes in it?
You can make it a Christmas movie, I guess.
Is it more though because that was usually when the release happened?
No, I would argue that Die Hard is more of a Christmas movie than any of the Harry Potter movies, despite them featuring Christmas.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to this 4 Christmases thing because this is probably on a lot of people's lists. It's not like a secret, but I mean, everything about this movie, the fact that you get these 4 different families, the characters, Favreau and
Tim McGraw somehow has an incredible performance.
What is it? Denver, Dallas, and then
Orlando.
Orlando is Vince Vaughn's name. You must be Orlando's girl.
Who's the dad? It's
the actual actor?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God, what is it? I can picture him. He talks like this.
Yeah, dude. I want to say Robert
Duvall.
Is that it? Yeah.
Robert Duvall. Hey, good teamwork.
The whole entire... And this is just going to devolve into...
someone in my home, some sex predator, who's going to try to sniff underwear. Oh, no. Meet your topside. We do things around ourselves around here.
Well, just the family dynamic, like the 3 boys being on the roof and Vince Vaughn's trying to turn the satellite the right way and Tim McGraw's playing tickle butt with him and Jon Favreau's giving him shit about not being married or not
being around so much, being fancy lawyer and everything. Yeah.
And it's just like the total family dynamic in every form that you can have. Like, you have that, and then you have Reese Witherspoon's sister being like the uppity, like...
I like the fact that that's your first, like... There's a lot about this movie that's hilarious, but like that's your first introduction. That's the first family you see. Mm-hmm. And then all of them are so like it's between that one and then her mom that I think are the 2 funniest ones. Because with her mom you get the fucking Christmas pageant where he plays Jesus.
Yep.
And he's like, "Woman, do your job and swaddle this baby. Unfit woman, give me the child."
You get that? You get Vince Vaughn trying to follow Grandma after she talks about stimulating her husband with her hand in her mouth more.
I follow Gam Gam with the hand and mouth stuff.
The hand and the mouth stuff?
Who plays Dwight Yoakam fucking plays the preacher.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. I have to be in character. I have to be here. And you sort of get a little bit of lead off, like you say, with his mom. But even his mom having his former best friend as...
I'd love to get your gas. Can I get your gas? It's like, no, I make more than you. I'm not trying to be your dad. I'm trying to be your friend. You were my friend. You were my best friend.
We used to sniff each other's hands.
Oh, fuck. I feel like we could talk about that movie too long.
Yeah.
All right. Overrated holiday movies.
Oh. I thought... So we had... What? I thought we had 5. I thought the last one was Wildcard.
It is. We've done favorite gift.
Yeah.
Memorable.
Yeah.
Worst song.
Yeah.
Best holiday movie.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. Well, apparently I can't count. Christmas Wildcard it is.
What was your worst?
Like, overrated?
Yeah.
I got Elf. I know people...
Okay. Yeah. I understand where you would be coming from. It's overplayed. People love it. There's
too much. It's not a bad movie, but the buildup is too much.
The fanfare around it is what draws it down.
Yes, the hype is too much. It would be enough if Four Christmases had that hype, the movie Four Christmases wouldn't live up to it.
Yeah.
So,
and I would agree to a certain extent with Christmas Vacation. Mm-hmm. Great movie. I enjoy watching it. Mm-hmm. But the amount of shit that you see between like socks and shirts and all that other kind of stuff, it's just like we've over glorified it.
I had Elf, Christmas Story.
Just you get 24 hours still with it on.
You can see it one time in your lifetime. There's nothing about it that's so great that you need to watch it again. And you can get the jokes watching it once in your life. The lamp thing is, I see the lamp that people have and everything. I'm like, that's just funny in itself, regardless of if it would have been in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Christmas Story, no, pass.
Well, and it's like I said, I watched maybe 20 to 30 minutes of it a year during the 24-hour stream of
over the course of 10 years, you watched a complete showing of A Christmas Story.
Every single time, that 20 minutes is enough to where I just don't ever think about it for the rest of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did have Christmas Vacation. I like Christmas Vacation, and I've liked it as I've gotten older because I appreciate more the actual, like, as a kid, you're watching that, you're like, why is the dad acting so crazy? And then you watch an adult, you're like, that's why he's fucking acting crazy. All the shit he's doing is going fucking south. And so, like, I have more of an appreciation, but I still think it's, like you said, it's so hyped that it can't. Overrated does not mean a bad movie. It just means that it doesn't live up to what it's been, the pedestal it's been put on.
The electrified cat underneath the chair is still maybe one of the funniest scenes in a movie.
Yes. A lot of sap. Bend over. It's got funny, like, I still laugh at the funny shit on it. And
Chevy Chase
like
is solid.
And I'll still watch it yearly, but I'm good once. It doesn't need to be repeated during the holiday season.
We didn't do runner-up for favorite movies.
Oh, you had your best holiday movie. Remember, you couldn't remember your top? So
yeah.
Did you have one below?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, go ahead.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this in movies. Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Yes. That was almost on my overrated, but the fact that you don't hear about Scrooged, that's what kept it over the overrated.
And he was just his acting was just so good in it.
I think that's one that I do need to probably revisit now because I think I'll probably get more of it than the last time I saw it because it's been a few years.
And just him being the dick that he was in the poor portrayal of the Christmas Story with the cab driver that's his angel that follows him around. Like, it just, everything hits really well.
You're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, and Bill Murray he's such a nut that he plays a perfect character in it.
I miss almost guys like that in movies that played bit parts, but they were in so many movies.
And just overacting.
But you never could name them, who the actor was, but you Bobcat Goldthwait. Before I knew he was a comedian, you would see him in movies and just that voice, however he talks and everything, you would see him in movies and then just bit parts. There's some people like that, but no one that like stands out because of a look or
not anymore. But I'll still argue to this day, like Jim Carrey, my favorite Jim Carrey movie has to be Liar Liar. Because he overacts in it so much, trying to tell the truth that everything is fucking funny that he does. And that's the same. Bill Murray, every movie that he has, it's the same thing. In Groundhog's Day, he's the asshole just like he is in Scrooged. Every movie that he plays it to the nth degree.
Yeah. All right, Christmas wildcard time. Where are we going to go with this? I don't know.
Where are you going to go with it?
I don't know. It's a wild card. It could be anything.
So who's first?
I'll go first.
Okay. I swear to God you're going to take this.
It's Christmas Vacation, not the movie.
Oh, okay.
Christmas Vacation itself. It has no meaning now as an adult. But when you were in school, Christmas Vacation, you had a little bit of an amuse-bouche for Thanksgiving. Sometimes Thanksgiving you got 5 days off. Sometimes you get the Wednesday, you got the Thursday. Christmas, man, like an oasis. In a winter storm, you got at least, I'm not even shitting you. I went back and was counting how many calendar days you would get depending on the year. You would get an average of between 9 and 11. You could get 11 on only like it was the white whale of years.
School days, not counting weekends?
Counting weekends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because what would happen is a lot of the time, Christmas Eve falls on a Thursday, then a Friday. You would get times where Christmas Eve would fall on a Wednesday, so they couldn't have you come back that Friday. And then you would get all the way till after New Year's. So that was when you would get the 11. I did some research on this. But just, you would get out, as soon as you were out of school, it was Christmas Eve. And then this is when you were hoping for that video game system or just a badass toy, or when I had the 4-wheel and everything. You knew that after Christmas Day, it was just whatever the fuck you wanted it to be. Just be able to get together with friends and fucking like after, like one of the first things I would do like after breakfast and like all the presents and everything is because I lived so close to my 2 best friends, it would almost be like a meeting. Like, are you ready to come out? And we can compare and we can look and see like, what are we going to be doing for the next week? Like, let's plan this shit out. We got to get use out of all this stuff.
The only thing that I could, and it's not to throw any sort of rain on that parade, because I do agree. I would say it was almost better than summer break, because summer break was long enough to where you could kind of enjoy like a month of it. Mm-hmm. Christmas vacation was never long enough to where you could, like, it always felt like those last couple days before you tried to get as much fuckery in as you could. Mm-hmm. Worst day of the year as a kid was always that first day back from Christmas break, because it was cold. You had to get back up at the same time. Like, first day of school, at least it was cool because you could, like, see all your friends again.
You were excited.
Yeah.
You got to see people that you hadn't seen all year. There was, like, an excitement. And you never did anything the first day. It was finding your classes, your locker, whatever you needed to do. Finding out who you're going to be going to classes with and where everything is.
It was excitement.
First day back, Christmas, the fucking party just ended and everyone's hung the fuck over.
It's a
lights
new year.
Just came on at fucking 2 o'clock, shuffling out the door, and the taco truck's closed.
So sad, man. I do remember the feeling of that Sunday night before, and you're just like, fuck, what? I didn't use this time enough.
You had all this cool shit that you still had back at home waiting for you, like, play with us.
Yeah, dude, so rough.
So more so the vacation itself.
Yeah, beautiful
not
time.
After.
Beautiful time. It's, like I said, it's the highest of the highs followed by the lowest of the low, but those highs are so sweet. Because you're all day long, you're out there throwing snowballs. You're screwing
sleeping
off.
You're coming back in late. The only time you're coming in is if you're fucking
cold or hungry,
or you set your shit by the fireplace and you eat. And then guess what? You go back out there and that shit's still wet. Is it warm? Put that shit back on. You're heading back out.
You spent the morning building the fort. You go and have some lunch. You know that you have just...
If you could have cooked lunch in that goddamn fort, you wouldn't have come back.
No. You need some sustenance for the snowball war you're about to have, though. Yeah, just a beautiful time of year. Mine, I just went with the most traditional of excitements. Just opening presents. Like, just the feeling of ripping wrapping paper. You hated the presents that were in bags because it just didn't feel as satisfying to be able to rip that paper off and see. It was just, everything was just such a surprise, and you're trying to match up when you rip it off. You're like, yeah, that was on my list. That was something that I really wanted. And sometimes
you're scanning the room to see if you can pick out, like, gauge the parents' reaction. Uh-huh. Did you sell it? Did you not sell it?
The pre-excitement for looking at the bigger packages, because for some reason in your mind as a child, every bigger package
was better.
Yes, every single time. And now I almost feel like it's kind of the opposite, but oh man.
It was the best when you were at an age where you weren't at all concerned with how it looked with you unwrapping stuff. Like, you weren't concerned, like, have you ever noticed that, like, now if you go to unwrap something, like, as an adult and like people are handing you stuff, you're almost trying to make it look like you're unwrapping it, but you're not so, like, enamored with this fact that you're getting a present that you're trying to tear into it.
Yeah.
You almost have to be strategic about it. Like, you have to almost do, like, the fake, I'm going to try not to tear the paper too much and give it, like, the old college try. And then you're like, fuck it, too much tape, I'm tearing this shit open.
Uh-huh. Or you're, like, right in the middle of unwrapping something when somebody starts talking, and you actually have to, like, consciously stop and look up, but you're still kind of tearing at the paper, like, slowly. Like, I have to try to pay attention to what they're saying to act like I care, because I don't want it to seem like I'm super focused on what I'm unwrapping. All I want to do right now is unwrap this, though.
Then you would start to build up as a kid. That's why that early time was just so much fucking fun. Is you never even stopped. Like, you would, of course, go lift your presents and see.
Uh-huh.
And over the years, you developed the ability to tell if it was clothes or socks, because the way it shifted in the package, if that goddamn packing paper was in there, it let you know. That shit's not quiet.
And those aren't the ones you want to open first.
No. Well, actually, they would be the ones I would open first, because I would want to get my... I would want it when I was fresh and I could really sell the joy.
Yeah.
Because if they see the genuine joy on you from opening the real ones, it's gonna be hard to recreate that for the less desirable gifts. But yeah, doing the thing where if it's in a box, as a kid, man, fuck that box. That box is getting shredded. As an adult, now you're looking, do I have my keys? I got to cut this tape under here because I'm sure this motherfucker wants to save the box.
Saving bows is the most and maybe it's because I'm just shit at wrapping gifts. I don't understand when somebody's like, oh, save me that bow. That's a really great bow. It's like, it's a fucking bow. That's not the coolest part about this whole thing.
There's a place that sells about a fucking billion of these.
Yeah, I will
And that one will be fresh next year.
I'll never think about spending $3 on a bow. I'm only thinking about
I'm going to give this to you, but if I see this motherfucking bow come back to me on a present,
I remember
I'm handing it back and telling you to get a new fucking bow. We're not don't recycle it on me. No. Yeah, it's so... Just as a kid, that blind obsession with the presents and just being like, fuck yeah, I don't care what anyone thinks, I'm opening this shit. And then the juxtaposition as an adult being like, all right, what is this? I know what this is. All right, let's put on I'm going to use this so much.
Well, we had it maybe the best. I think we did have it the best now that I think about it. Because when you're a single child or when you're an only child, I'm sure that Christmas is probably cool because it's just all about you.
Yeah.
And you and I having one sibling each, I think that's the best of the worlds because you had somebody to play with and fuck with and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Christmas time comes, if you have like 3 or 4 siblings and you have to sit and wait and watch them open shit while you're still looking at yours, that would be madness.
Yes.
That would drive me insane. The fact that like you and I, we could go 1-to-1, like sibling opens one, parents maybe open one, then you open another one.
Like, just trying to fucking put as much coffee in their face as possible. Trying to keep track of, give me the fucking paper. I got my garbage fucking bag.
Who opened the last one? Then your brother or sister gets to open the next one.
I'm next.
Yeah, it was always an argument. I'm sure kids in bigger families, like that argument had to fucking suck. Because you're seeing all your siblings get shit and all you want to do is focus on you.
My shit next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you pick it's the fucking stepbrothers thing. Someone ends up picking the whole cans and you get the fucking rawhide wallet. Like, I picked the fucking wrong one.
This gift is shit.
Oh. All right, man. I think that's it. You got any closing thoughts?
No. I just hope that everybody got what they were hoping for.
As an adult, that pretty much means hope you got a gift card to the place they told you to buy a gift card to so you can buy something you like.
Yeah, maybe before we go, do you think the worst part about Christmas as an adult is having to make your own Christmas list now?
Yes.
It's the most frustrating thing to have to come up with. Because if I see shit now, I just buy it. If I want it, if I need it, I just buy it.
If I want it and don't have it, I'm not going to tell you to buy it because it's going to be I'm going to sound like an asshole for telling you to buy this thing that's too expensive that I don't have it right now.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. So all it is at this point, there shouldn't be any stigma to it. If you want a fucking gift card, ask for a goddamn gift card. Put it toward whatever you want. Guess what? People are much happier. They may not have as much joy in opening something cool, but I'm going to tell you right now, that joy is going to leave when they have to take it back to the store and exchange it for something.
Well, not only that, I'm getting better at golf, so I don't need as many golf balls for Christmas. Like, I still have some left over from years before, but I always put it on my list because it's the easiest. Like, it's a relatively not super expensive thing. Mm-hmm. And
it's got a little significance to it.
Yeah.
People that are usually buying it for you don't realize kind of what is this a lot? Is this not very many?
But every single year I have to ask for a box of golf balls because it's a logical thing to put on there. And it's like, all these people have to think, God, he's not getting any better golf.
Gift cards. Gift cards.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's going to be it. Have a Merry Christmas.
And a Happy New Year. Woo. Peace.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much for making it through another episode and sticking with us. If you want to kind of follow up on the next upcoming episodes, get some teasers, Adam, can they get us on the Twitter?
They can get us on the Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Historically High. That's Historically HI.
Nice. And on the Instagram?
Our Instagram is Historically High Pod. That's Historically High POD.
And what happens if your social media inept?
If you have any issues where you can't figure out social media, our email is historicallyhighpodcast@gmail.com.
We set up a landline.
Just in case.
You guys can go ahead and shoot us any question, comments, or even maybe suggestions for future episodes, something you guys want to hear.
Yeah, high thoughts, questions, anything like that. We're always open. We'll always get back to you.
Hell yeah, guys. See you on the next episode.
Peace.